Recording back, Connie. Recording in progress.
Hello.
All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Think with a Drink. This is the weekly webinar series brought to you by the ARIES Foundation for Financial Education. And tonight we've got a battle royale on your hands. This is traditional IRA versus Roth IRA. You know, who's going to come out in this battle of these two retirement savings strategies? Before we get into that, we do got a little quick pre-flight checklist for everybody. Just know we are recording the event. We do share this on our website. We share it on our YouTube channel. So all we ask is that you keep the microphones muted. Don't have to worry about the cameras being on or off, because only what is being shown as the presentation is what is being recorded. There is a chat box, however, so if you do have a question, please feel free to drop it in the chat box. And my co-pilot, who I'll introduce in a second, will be monitoring the chat box and make sure that those questions get brought up either as we're going along or at the end of the presentation. And he is here, and I'll introduce him in a second, just to make sure I stay on pace with all of this and we don't get too carried away in one tangent or another as usual. Speaking of your pilots for tonight's journeys, my name is Tom Alessi. I am the president of the ARIES Foundation for Financial Education. I have been in financial services for, now it's technically, I've literally crossed the threshold into my 24th year in the business. I'm an investment advisor. That means I act as a fiduciary whenever giving guidance or advice. I want to bring my vice president, Craig. Please introduce yourself.
Sure. So I'm Craig Richardson, vice president of the ARIES Foundation. I've been in financial services a little over 18 years now, and my specialty is working with families to help them define their financial goals and have a better relationship with their money.
And like I said, Craig will be chiming in as we go along, but he'll also be manning the chat box. So any questions that pop in, please feel free to drop them there. Told you that Think with a Drink was brought to you by the ARIES Foundation for Financial Education. You can visit our website. It's www.ariesfoundation.org. And the mission behind ARIES is trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money. Because whether you realize it or not, you are in a relationship with money. And just like every other personal relationship that you have, there are emotions and behaviors and triggers that cause us to act, well, Craig and I like to say, a little irrationally sometimes when we deal with our money and our finances. That's all we at ARIES, Craig, myself, the rest of our team, try to help everybody do, is to take some of that out of the equation, help you have that better relationship as you move forward. All right, so there's a lot of words on the screen. I am not going to read them. So we are just going to tell you that we are a nonprofit organization. We do these presentations and other workshops that go along with it. Educational, informational only. We just ask that if you're going to share this information, you do so in an educational manner. Just know the ARIES Foundation, that all of us, Craig, myself, the rest of the team, always recommend that if you have questions of a legal, tax, or financial nature, that you seek out the help of a professional. All right, now we come to the fun part of the evening, and this is, we call this Think with a Drink, because we know some of these topics get a little intense, they get a little overwhelming, some people feel intimidated by them, so we want to make it more casual, more relaxed, and we can't think of a better way to do that than if we have something cold to sip on as we're going through this. Tonight, I am drinking, this is Surfcaster. This is from our friends over at Treehouse, Craig. This is a, sort of a, it's a wit beer that's brewed in the traditional style wit beer. So you're getting some of that, like doughy malts and zesty spice with it.
Oh. So is this a
So,
big crew for them? Because I haven't seen that one before.
yeah, no. I just figured, you know what, he's got to, I posted it on the website, but you can see it there. There's like a dude on the beach. So I'm like, hi, it's summertime, there's a guy on the beach, like, so it gives you that good vibe for it. So we'll see what this is about. What are you drinking this evening?
I actually have a treehouse myself. It's a very green treehouse brew.
Very green. What's in very green?
I don't know. Lots of.
You don't know. You're just going to drink it.
It's green, and green, and that's all I know.
That's all you know. Well, skål with that.
Oh,
Oh, you definitely get that. You definitely get that like doughy malt, right? When you open it, you get that and that a little bit of that spice that's there as well. Very nice. Nice, light and refreshing, right? For a hot day type of thing.
well, there you go.
Okay, so the agenda, we are going to introduce our two combatants for this evening, the king of the retirement savings ring and his challenger. We will talk about what makes them so good in terms of what they do. And then I'm going to do the traditional IRA. Craig will be introducing the Roth, and then we'll flip it and we'll do, the points to take against them as we try to figure out who the winner in this crazy battle is. But I'm throwing a curveball at Craig this evening that he doesn't know is coming. Say, Craig, I wanted to add something in. I thought, for you and I, we could just talk about, something as we start out every week, something that you're feeling good about. Something that you might, whether it's something that you're thankful for, something you're grateful for. I always think it's a good idea to do that a little bit. And I'll start if you want me to, so that you can get a sense of this, okay, in terms of going through it. But for me, I had family in from the West Coast who came to visit last week and was able to, get together not only with them, but with the rest of my extended family, my sisters, their kids, et cetera, et cetera. So, big gathering. It's great to see family, spend time with everyone. So that was something that I was really grateful for. What about you? Got anything on your mind?
Sure. I got two daughters going to college this fall that we've been getting ready for.
Empty nester. Look at that. Of course.
Yeah.
That's like, what is that song, like the Staples thing? It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, right. Except for all the crying that I'm sure is going to be happening in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. And then all the packing and all the buying stuff and all of that goes along with it. And then trying to squish it all into one tiny little room. Sure.
Right. But I got two kids going to two good colleges, and, I'm really happy about that. So
that is something absolutely to be grateful for. So that's a good thing. All right. So we're going to move on here now and get started with this. And I will try to do it. I don't know, remember what the dude's name is, right? But let's get ready to rumble. Did I do okay? Or did I blow your ears out?
did you hear my boxing bell?
No, I didn't. So, very funny. I was driving on the highway today as I was coming back. I went to the office and of course the theme to Rocky popped on. And I'm like, oh, I wanted to have that in the show. All right, so here we go. Let's go through this. I am going to do, in this corner, right? So hailing and being part of the retirement savings arena since 1974, we have the king of the retirement savings ring, the IRA. For anyone under 60 right now, you can contribute up to $6,000. For anyone turning 50 or over 50 this year, you can add an additional 1,000, total of 7,000. And all of those contributions are tax deductible. Most points, yeah, you can be tax deductible. And the money that sits in that account, that growth, that compounding growth is all tax deferred. You don't pay taxes on it until you take the money out. And you can pretty much invest within certain limits in anything that you want in an IRA, including crypto. Don't get us started on that, but you can do it. Traditional IRA is very easy to open. They're fairly inexpensive. It doesn't take a lot to open one or to get one started. And to add on to all of that for the king of the ring, at certain lower thresholds, you actually can qualify for a saver's tax credit. So not only can you get a deduction, you can get a credit on your taxes on top of that. I can't see our challenger coming close to giving you that kind of a break with this.
No,
But
Yes.
Let's bring him on. Let's in the next corner. Hailing from parts unknown and being around since 1997, we have our challenger, the Roth IRA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Roth IRA, once again, since would you say 1974?
That's the IRA.
Right. Well, this is 1997, so we're,
Yeah.
3 years newer, which is good because now
Younger.
we got better ideas now, right? So some of the pros. One big pro with a Roth IRA is there's no taxes. You put your money away, it grows tax deferred and comes out tax free. The other great thing about the Roth IRA is there's no required minimum distribution. You never have to take it if you don't want to. Or the other one, you have to start taking a distribution at 72 and a half or 72, 70 and a half, now it's 72.
72.
Right. The other great thing is there's no maximum age for contribution. You can contribute for as long as you're making money. You can put money into a Roth IRA. So whereas in a traditional, you have to stop contributions at 72 years old. Once again, the earnings are tax-free along with the contributions when they come out. You're not paying any tax. It's not adding to your income. So when you go to take Social Security and Medicare, there's nothing counts against you when it comes to that Medicare surcharge, which is fantastic. There's no penalty for first-time homeowner or education for taking money out early. As long as it's been in the account for 5 years, you can take the money out, the earnings out to buy a first-time home or to pay for school. The other thing is because you've already paid the taxes on the contributions, you can take those out at any time for any reason, anytime you want, without any penalty. You just can't touch the earnings. So once again, with all those things and the fact that you can take the money out tax-free, which every penny of an IRA comes out taxable, I don't know how that old IRA just can keep up with the new young Roth.
So he's moving and bopping, he's doing the whole, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee thing. Well, let's get into that a little bit in terms of, the whole downside to that. So let me see if I follow you on it, but I paid taxes on the money that went into the account. So I got taxed. So you can tell me there's no taxes, but I got taxed because I had to pay taxes on the money that was going in. So there's taxable on that, right? I can't lower my taxes because, what happens if I don't have access to an employer plan or something else? I want to lower my tax bill today. I can't do that with the Roth IRA. If I earn too much money, or in today's world, it really isn't too much money. It's probably about an average salary. But as a single person, if I make more than $125,000, I can't use that Roth IRA. It's not allowed to me. That seems very exclusive and very, very hey, I want to help you with things, right? I can't combine it with my other retirement accounts. It's got to stay separate and by itself. Again, very aloof, very standoffish, very separate in terms of dealing with everything. My employer cannot set one up for me. Whereas an employer can do a payroll direct IRA plan for me if they choose to do it. I can have that set up through my employer. I can't do that with a Roth. And that whole thing about, hey, it's got to be there the 5 years, whatever you want to call that, saturation or sweetening of the money that's in there. Well, if I die, my beneficiaries get hit with that penalty. That's the same thing that occurs. Like if it's within the 5-year window, they don't get any freedom from that. They only get freedom if I go past the 5 years. So, there's a lot to take away there. Yes, I know he's the young challenger and he's feisty and he's trying to get everything in there, but some of that is not necessarily, and for those people who are in a higher earning bracket, he doesn't even let you play. You don't even get to step into the ring with him. So I'm going to say, a lot of points against Mr. Roth IRA there, as young and as feisty and as active as he is in trying to take down the king of the ring.
All right, go sit in your corner and put your Vaseline. Will you?
Go put your dentures in.
I did not say that. All right, so the champ. Wow, it's a lot of bluster from the champ trying to keep his position here. But the real fact is the problem with the traditional IRA is that the government is going to force you to take that money out at 72. And what rate do they make you take it out at? Life expectancy. Well, life expectancy is an average. So they're basically telling you, we want you to take all your money out at the average life expectancy. If you live longer than average, you're out of money. You've drained your RMD. It's gone. You have to take it out and pay the taxes. The other issue is you're getting a tax break up front. But if you look at the longevity of earnings in a retirement account, the actual earnings should outperform, be a larger portion of that account than the contributions ever were. So you're paying taxes on everything in a traditional IRA. I'm only paying taxes on the contribution. So that's a great thing.
You mean the growth?
On the growth, correct. Yeah. I'm not paying any tax on the growth, only on the contribution, right?
Oh, right. I get it. Sorry.
Yeah, come
All the way
on.
around. You had it right.
Back in your corner. Back to a neutral corner. The other problem you have is, once again, when you take those monies out, they're going to count against your adjusted gross income, right? So that's going to be rolled into anything you do as far as your Medicare. If your income's too high, you could be paying a surcharge. All those things come into effect. You do have the same penalties on early withdrawal. You try to touch this money for 59.5. Not only are you going to pay tax on the earnings, you're going to pay the 10% penalty, which is true in both cases. But it's just another thing that equalizes. It doesn't make it any better. The other issue, which is a big one, is you used to be able to do this great thing with legacy, is you able to do a stretch IRA. Well, thanks to the 2019 Secure Act, that's no longer in play. So which means is that your beneficiaries, if there's any money left in the IRA, because they're trying to force you to take it all out anyway, can only take it out within 10 years, and they still have to take required minimum distribution during that 10-year period. What does that mean? It means your beneficiary is going to be forced to take additional income that they have to pay tax on at their income rate, which could make their income tax go higher.
I'm blowing a whistle. I'm blowing a referee wants a timeout. Only if it's non-spouse or someone with a disability, they don't have that.
Correct. So if it's your child or anybody else aside from your spouse, you're stuck with that. And I have to go back and double check the spouse, and they're still going to have to take the distribution though. I don't believe they have a right to not take it.
Well, no, but they've got the ability to, if it's
Right,
RMDs already in, then they'll just continue the RMDs. If it's not, they then get to use it on their life expectancy.
Now, in fairness, the Roth IRA also has to come out within 10 years, but there's no tax implication, so it doesn't matter. So you can still get to stretch it within 10 years. There's no RMDs. So you could wait for the entire 10 years before you take it out, and allow it to keep growing and take it out at the end and pay no tax. So once again, good job there, old IRA, but I think we're steaming up on you.
We shall see. We'll do the point out in a couple of seconds. But one of the things we did want to touch on was, every now and then we keep getting asked questions about IRAs, Roth IRAs, and certainly these are some of them, which is, one of the biggest ones, I think, Craig, that comes a lot, which is, can I contribute to both, right? And the answer is yes, but that threshold, that number, that 6,000 or 7,000, that's the limit. You can't add up to more than that. You can do 5 in one and 2 in another, or as many ways as you want to split that up and do it and have fun with it. But it necessarily, that's the idea behind it, is that you can contribute to both, but you're limited to the number cap there of either 6,000 or 7,000.
They only allow you to tuck so much money away for retirement, regardless of the vehicle.
Right. Exactly. And then, another one that comes up, and this is more of that timing. And I will tell you, both Craig and I experience it generally sometime around that first couple of days in April, with the panic call about, hey, I forgot to do my IRA contribution. Can I do it now? Or what's the rule here? What can you do? So you have up until tax filing time to make a contribution to a traditional, or, the Roth IRA, same idea, to make that contribution for the previous year. So when we're looking at 2023 or for the 2022 tax year, you have up until your tax filing time, which is April 15th of that year, unless they extend it for COVID and all the other craziness. But whatever they tell you, tax deadline is, that day next April is when your deadline to make your traditional or Roth IRA contribution. If you try to make it after that, it doesn't work. There are certain plans that will allow you to do that, but not traditional or Roth IRAs, right, Greg?
That is correct. Yep.
Sorry, that's usually my signal to him to talk for a little bit so I can take a sip, basically, as we go through this. But
I don't know where you're going next. Anyway. See, so there you go. What if you have a 401k, right?
Right. So what if you have a plan, right? Because that's the other question. Like, what if I have a plan? Can I contribute to an IRA or a Roth IRA, right? So here's another knock against that challenger, right? So the conversation is, you may not be able to contribute to the Roth if you make too much money. But with a traditional IRA, you can make all the contribution you want. There's no limit there in terms of who can contribute for that.
You bring up an interesting point with the 401k having the traditional rules, but now a lot of plans have the Roth 401k, which takes a lot of those contribution limits out from the Roth account.
So you can't slide another category into your little Roth IRA thing and then pretend like that's okay. I mean, yes, it does exist. There is Roth 401k, but that's different from your Roth IRA there. We're talking about you got a traditional 401k. There is no other component to it. Can I then either, if I want to, contribute to an IRA or contribute to a Roth? The answer is yes. The Roth, of course, becomes the limit on how much money you make.
Right.
But the rules say, yeah, there's no problem with that. Now, for most people, the contribution to a 401k this year is $20,500. Again, if you are 50 this year or over age 50, you get to contribute an additional $6,500. So that's $27,000 that you can put in to a 401k, depending on your situation. Again, if you're highly comped, you might be limited, blah, blah, blah. There's certain rules there. But you do have the ability to do both. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, I'm in the lead. I'm getting kudos from the audience. Hooray for Craig for that nugget.
Trying to see, he's using something that was off to, he tried to bring in another part to it that just, that's unfair. Like, that's against the, what's that, the rules thing, right?
The rabbit punch, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Wait, send him to his corner for 30 seconds or whatever.
I put a horseshoe in my glove. I can't.
That's the illegal taping, right? Okay, so. All right, so who wins this battle? Who wins this crazy matchup between the two? And I know that Craig has thrown a lot of good points with the Roth IRA, and the same thing with the traditional. But here's the thing: for everybody, it really comes down to your current situation, because as you are maybe younger, looking to get a tax deduction now might make sense, whereas somebody who's now older maybe wants to start thinking about, wait, I want to be putting money away that I'm not, as Craig said, going to get hit with those required minimum distributions or Social Security penalties or Medicare surcharges. So the Roth might make sense if you have the ability to do it.
Actually, I'm gonna say something, Tom. I'm gonna go the other way with it. I think if you're younger, you want to do the Roth because, once again, you're going to be paying only on the contribution, and the earnings are going to outperform the contribution. Right. Or if you're older, you're 55 or older, approaching retirement, well, you're not going to have as much growth. So why not get as much tax deduction on the contribution as you possibly can?
Yeah, it's another way to do it. I mean, I agree that makes more sense in terms of looking at it from that perspective and trying to say, okay, I'm just trying to get, I've got my bucket over here. Now I don't want to pay taxes anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, like you said, maybe it's a combination of both. Right.
And I think that makes sense, right? Because that's the thing. And part of this, like when we talk about retirement and the greater grand scheme of the strategy and thinking about retirement, we always talk about those, and for us, it's always buckets. We always talk about those different buckets. You always want to be able to dip into different places, and having the 401k and the Roth and whether it's an HSA or whatever available gives you those other places you can dip from, especially if, for most people, Greg, most of the money is tied up in a tax deferred retirement account like a 401k. And like you've said, just like the IRA, all of that money is getting taxed when it comes out.
Yeah, the other problem is like when you box and you have 15 rounds, the rules stay the same for all 15 rounds. When you're retired, the government can change the rules at any point they want. Any round they want to, they can change those rules. So while it may be beneficial for you to have all your money in one bucket right now, because it may not work when you go to retire. Another reason you want to have money in different taxable buckets, because you just don't know what the tax codes are going to do over a longer period of time.
Yes, but clearly let you know how long it's been since Craig saw our boxing match. Since they only go 12 now, no more 15s. They realized that was just insane in terms of trying to go 15 rounds. So
that's because older people are boxing now. That's why.
In terms of so again, that it's more of you trying to figure out what you're trying to do, where you're trying to get to, and what you're trying to have there. And really, that's what Craig and I try to do with everybody. And it's part of what ARIES, the whole foundation of it, is about, is trying to figure out and help you, plan that road ahead. Because we know that there's going to be trouble. There's going to be potholes and zigs and zags and other things that occur as you're heading to whatever you're trying to get to. And so for us, we always try to help everybody, sort of have that clear vision. And we have a tool that we put together that we call the roadmap to financial awesomeness. This is a visual tool that allows you to see everything of where you are. And then we can fine tune it with you to figure out where do you want to get to, right? And, if you're interested in having a conversation with us, you can type yes in the chat box. Craig, you have your scheduler?
I just put it in.
So Craig's scheduler just dropped into the chat box because he's way ahead of me there in terms of dealing with that. But so if you're interested, you can just click on that or save the link. When you're ready, we can have a conversation with you to see if this makes sense for you, because it gives you a handle, gives you an idea and a sense of, okay, here's where I'm at. Where do I want to get to? And how am I going to do that? And should I be taking advantage of traditional IRA, or should I be taking advantage of Roth IRA, or, as we discussed, a combination of the two?
Yep.
So this is Craig and I in our more formal attire. I don't have my jersey on. I should have, because it's TGIF. That's thank God it's football. The Patriots are playing this evening. So preseason game number 1. I know it's only preseason, but for those who are in other parts of the country, the Red Sox have ruined my summer. So at least I can start watching sports again now that football has come on. But that's us out and about. Yes, those are TB12 jerseys. We're thinking about getting Mac Jones, but we just haven't bought in yet, or at least I haven't. Craig already did.
Mac attack.
Yes, Mac attack. Yeah, enough with that. So what's on tap? What's coming up? So next week, we're going to do different types of life insurance, because that's one of the other questions that comes up a lot. Like, well, these different types of policies that are out there. What makes sense for me? What is my employer giving me? What can I do with it? All those things that we'll go through. And then on the 25th, we have a special for anybody who has somebody or knows somebody with a child who's differently abled or has a disability. It's a funding the special needs trust with special guests from the Plan of Mass in Rhode Island. They are a nonprofit that does pooled trust arrangements for special needs. So that'll be on the 25th. All right, Craig, any questions in the chat box? And I don't want to hear any about that you won. I don't want to hear that.
I can only go by what I'm seeing. I got all the votes. So I don't know what to tell you, buddy. But no, we don't have any questions because we covered it so thoroughly.
All right. Well, if you ever do have any questions, you can always reach out to us. It's www.ariesfoundation.org. And if you got an email, just shoot that. It's info@ariesfoundation.org. We're always happy to try to answer any questions. Like I said, if you got any concerns or anything coming up, just reach out to us. Like I said, our mission is trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money. And Greg, if there's nothing else in the chat box, I am going to stop the recording.
All right.